right, guys. This is Chris. I'm sitting with my buddy Kevin.
Hey.
And I almost said this is Chris from Beers in Japan, which is my YouTube channel about Japan, my side hobby there. But this is actually for Ecom World. We just shot a video about a beer place here in Osaka, which is why I was about to say that. And we're talking about that, and Kevin brought up something really interesting, and it's something that I often notice and I teach my private coaching students, and that is, he said to me at lunch, because I get some of these email promotions from people who are selling different stuff, whether it be a drill because he buys a lot of construction equipment because he's also a carpenter by trade, and
or hiking stuff.
Yeah, hiking stuff, and he gets all these emails. And what's wrong with the emails?
Okay, so the HTML emails, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's great. I mean, we didn't used to have that at all. I remember years ago with Aweber, we only had text only, and it was like, oh, look at this new thing. We have HTML email, but the problem is it can be overused. I mean, it's great for some things. Yeah, I want to see a picture of a nice pair of hiking boots, right? Like, I like a good pair of hiking boots. I'm going to go, hey, that looks great. But another thing you got to remember is it's not just about that. It's about, we were talking about stories, telling stories. And you do not need HTML for telling stories. In fact, a lot of times, people are going to get more chance to read, and it's going to load faster and everything, if you've got a text email and you give them a good story.
Yep.
And you read that story and it draws you in. I first started using this way back with eBay. I was selling chisels on eBay. I could pick a chisel up here for 200 yen. That's like $2. I would sell it to American collectors for $80, $90. And the reason was mine was outselling other people because I always had a story about the chisel itself. Like the owner of the chisel, the way the chisel was made, the folding of the metal and all. And, this may be boring. There's people who don't use chisels, but for those collectors, this was gold, right? They were like, wow, yes, I want this. And now my wife is doing the same. She sells stuff on a local thing here called Mercari.
It's a local site where you sell used stuff in Japan.
Yeah, you sell all kinds of stuff. She's selling a lot of stuff from, like, she's been cleaning out her mom's place, kind of downsizing. And she started selling that, just making stories, because she'd seen me do this before. She's like, I'm going to start creating stories around these things. Like she doesn't just, here it is. She writes all about it. Like her grandmother's some old jewelry and stuff, and she sold it for a lot more than she could. Now what she's doing? She's doing arbitrage. She's buying other people's stuff, used things that are being sold, but they're not getting much for it. She's buying them at a cheap price. She's turning around and selling them at a much higher price because she adds a story to it. Yeah. That's it. That's all it takes, is like a good story will pull people in and make that connection with it, right?
Absolutely true. I mean, this is something that I've been teaching my students. I'm doing since about, 2012. I went to an event, and I learned this from a guy named Ben Settle, who was a famous email marketer, and he talked about storytelling. And so the problem with HTML messages, and I'm not saying 100% use text and storytelling and not use HTML. That's not what I'm saying. Those have their purpose, but it's a sales pitch. It's clearly a fucking go buy my fucking shit. Yeah. And also it doesn't inbox as much because Google looks at more of spam. The Gmail, they're really strict about that. So if it's a text email, it looks like a message from a friend, and you rope them in with the story. And in fact, often the longer the story is, the better. And in fact, I remember, I'll never forget this, okay? So this is a coach student way back in 2014. And she had a product, she said, I'm really having trouble making sell over email. And I said, write a story. And then she wrote a story, and it was a very short story. And I said, no, write a long story. Go into more details here, more details. And it was really, really, really long. And she actually resisted, didn't want to do it. She basically ignored the assignment. And then about a week goes by, and she says, Chris, I got to talk to you. So I just opened up my email box. And in my email box, there was an email. And I realized, oh my God, the story is so interesting. And I just kept reading, and I ended up clicking the link. And then I'm buying. And then she realized, wait a minute, the power of a long story can rope people in. Anyway, that's one email ecom concept that we want to keep you guys in mind. And if you're interested in my private coaching, private message me, do you think they should try my private coaching?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've seen nothing but success with the people that have been using this private coaching. I don't do ecom myself, but man, if I did, I'd be going to him.
And if you're interested, don't feel you can afford a coach, you don't want to take coaching, you can go to take my course, which is ecomvantage.com, ecomvantage, VANTAG.com, and we'll see you in the next video. Cheers.